Again, we have the establishing shot, the master shot, wide shot or medium shot, close up, pickups. The establishing shot is usually going to be that very wide angle that we were talking about, the shot of the hospital, then cut into the hospital. Master shot is usually going to be that long shot. It covers the entire scene. As long as you got your master shot, you have your scene. You get kicked out of the place, you still have it. Then we cut into our mediums and our close-ups and our pickups. Pickups, there's a video that you guys should totally watch on Vimeo about David Fincher and pickups, because he is the king of pickups. It's just pickup shots galore, but they all do something. They all mean something, which is a pickup shot I think of as something that I didn't need my actor for. We're cutting in on something, and it could be, you know, Josh is the actor, but I'm using my hand to grab it. We do that stuff all the time. Somebody has a hard out. We worry about the pickups absolute last, because you would just find somebody with a similar hand. The Gorilla filmmaking picture actually looks like my hand holding a slate. It's not me. It kind of creeped me out. I'm like, you have hobbit thumbs too. So that's your basic coverage. When you walk into a scene, if you have this, you absolutely have your scene. So after these, then you start getting into more specialty shots, and you start making it a little sexier. But as long as you have this going in, and this is actually, we'll get into triangle coverage next. As long as you have this type of thing, you're going to be good to go. In what order? For me, that really depends. It depends on the scene and my actors, where they're at, how far into shooting we are. But say we have a very dramatic scene, I'm probably going to go wide first, because I'm going to let them warm up. If it's not super emotional in the wide, that's fine. I'm not going to use it that much. I'm going to use it to get into the scene. I'm going to use it to set my geography. They know where everything is. Then I'm going to start cutting into my mediums, then slowly into my close-ups. And as you move that way, since we're shooting the master, we're shooting wider, then we cut to the medium, then we cut to the close-up. With each of those, I want the close-up to be the most emotional and pinpoint on the acting as possible. So we're giving them a lot of room to finesse it, to get into the mode of it. But if there's a scene where I think magic is about to happen, if I'm going to get, which sounds pretentious, but if you've ever shot on set, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know how else to say it. There's sometimes just something happens and they just nail it. And sometimes that could be lost if you do master shot first. So it really depends, but rule of thumb is start wide, let them work into it. It gives you plenty of time to massage them into, that sounds weird, into the performance, especially if they're new actors. They feel really uncomfortable under these lights, all these people looking at them. You start wide, let them get comfortable, move into the medium, let them get more comfortable, punch into that close-up to get what you really needed. Triangle coverage is basically, well, you know what, let's watch this, and then we'll talk about triangle coverage, which just has some audio. Could we kick on the audio for this guy? That's just messed up. That was very grim. Way to bring the mood down, me. So we shot this at the end of the day. I wanted a very, very specific look for this shot, which is what we had. Very overcast, lower on the contrast when we shot it. I wanted to feel very bleak, very grim, and I wanted a certain look from the mud. I didn't want a bunch of reflections happening. I wanted this to feel very, very dark and serious. I wanted you to feel the weight of what was happening. I didn't want it to be a punch, punch, bang, bang, dude died, I don't care sort of scene. I wanted you to feel it. So it was a little difficult to shoot because we wanted that time frame, which meant we had, how long do we have to shoot this, an hour? hour and a half.
Yeah, like an hour and a half.
Maybe a little bit more. That's a lot of coverage. We also did not have a shot list for this scene. We did not have a storyboard for this scene. So I'm going into a scene like this, which is action, which can be very confusing to shoot, and I have to make it up in my head as we go, making the shots as we go, editing in my head as we go, and come up with something that we'll be proud to show. So how do we do that? We use triangle coverage, which is like one of my secret sauce things, which I'm now putting live on the internet, which is your master angle. It's basically the basic coverage that we were talking about. You got your master angle, you got your first perspective, you have your second perspective, and then specials. Also some pickups if you need them. I had 2 pickups in this shot, which we're going to look at the shot again and talk about it. But basically this is what triangle coverage looks like. It's like basically just the 180-degree rule in work. You have your first master setup, and then you have your 2 perspectives, one of the first actor, the other of the second, and you're playing all those off, right? And then you're using the idea of basic coverage, medium, wide, and close-up in all those spots. So you're getting medium, wide, and close-up in each of those triangle positions, and you're covering your entire scene to have plenty of coverage to edit later. So I'm not having to think too much about it. I'm saying, here's my first perspective, my second, my third perspective, and I'm covering the entire scene. So then I'm free to shoot those each of those perspectives from, say, a medium, make sure I have it. After that, I start dipping into the emotion of what's happening. I'm start feeling it with my actors, and I look like a crazy person probably because I'm starting to do everything that they do. I think you should watch the behind the scenes on our YouTube channel because I'm pretty sure by the end of it I was half naked, my hair crazy, standing in the mud with them. It was pretty. I started out fully clothed, but somehow by the end I was wearing very little. I don't know exactly what happened, but let's watch it again with that in mind. We're doing triangle coverage, we're doing 3 perspectives, and we're just switching the focal length, right? And then we're having a basic shot to make sure we get it, and then we're getting in and we're getting emotional with the scene with our actors, and we're moving when they move, and we're letting the scene tell us where to go. Pan down on him, pan back up on him, and we're kind of making it up on the fly, feeling it with them. And as a director, if you're also the camera operator, you really can do that, which is why I like to operate my own camera, because if I'm director and I have somebody else operating camera for a scene like this, it's really hard to have them nail those moments with me. Whereas it almost comes like this dance with your actors, which also sounds pretentious, where you're getting into it with them, which I always like to talk about. The camera is the third actor in the room, right? So you're performing with your actors. You're getting into it with them. Sometimes I think I mouth my actors' dialogue while I'm directing. I'm sure that makes me look like a psychopath too. So we're doing 3 perspectives. Then we're doing what I call specials from each of those perspectives, where I'm letting myself be free, follow the scene of what the scene wants to be, moving around. And then we're getting pickups that we need, which are just going to be the shackles. So we'll watch the scene again with that in mind. And as you can see, we break the 180 here. We start an entirely new 180, but we're doing it on action. So you're never disoriented. You know exactly where you are. So we're breaking the 180 right on that action, and it totally works. So that's our master perspective. That's our perspective 1. Pickup, master, 1. Master, pickup, 1. Master, 1, 2. And that's a special. I'm just feeling out the scene, 2. Back to 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's pretty much it. We're going from those few perspectives, and all we're doing is getting our medium, close up, and then just feeling it. And towards the end, this is definitely a special where I'm just following them with the action. I'm getting into the moment, moving with, you see the camera moving with the punch to add that weight of the punch. The camera sort of feeling it too, which makes it feel a little more, action oriented. I'm also moving up and down when he's putting him in the mud, because clearly he's not actually killing him. So we're giving him time to breathe as well. So that's also orchestrated. His face is out of the water now. So we're just going through those 3 perspectives to shoot that entire scene, and it's not that difficult to keep it in your head and lock it all down and shoot a scene that might feel very chaotic and very crazy and all over the place, and you feel like there's 10,000 camera angles that were planned, but they weren't. It's 3 perspectives, a couple different basic coverage principles, and you just go with it.
This is a good time to break, good place to break.
Yep.
All right, we'll just do a couple questions then. One of the questions that came out, kind of like a big picture question, this is from, let's see, I think it says BAM. BAM would like to know, what should you avoid when lighting, and what makes bad lighting?
That is definitely going to be to taste to some point. Multiple shadows is one of the worst. Flat lighting is another one. Making sure like we were talking about today, where, you're drawing your audience's eye. You're keeping that in mind. You want your audience to focus on a certain, it's getting late, man. I was terrible at speaking earlier. It's getting worse. You want your audience to focus on a certain spot, so it's about how are you going to make that happen. Lighting is one of the biggest points, which is why we spend a lot of time on lighting today, because even if you're not using actual fixtures, even if you're just using available light like we showed before, where are you putting the sun? You're putting the sun on the side of your actor's face, you're putting your sun behind your actor, in front, so you can use available light the exact same way. If you're inside, like we did earlier, open those windows, that's a key. Where are you putting it? So you're going to put the camera compared to where you want that light to hit, even if you're not actually using fixture, even if you're using a lamp, fixtures in the ceiling at your house, like we were talking about, switching bulbs out. So knowing what angle of light you want to tell the story you want is also a big part of it. And I would say the best thing that you could possibly do is watch movies with the sound off. If you're talking about lighting, watch your favorite movie with the sound off. You see everything. I was talking to somebody else about that today. Was that you? But you just see so many different things that you didn't see before, and you're able to focus in on the visuals. With the sound on, sound does so much for you emotionally, and it hides the cuts, and you just get lost in it. With the sound off, it's really easy to dial in and pay attention to what they're doing with the camera and what they're doing with the lighting. So that's what I would say to do. Think of it in terms of that, stuff that we were talking about today, and just start studying things that you think look beautiful.
Okay, great tips. One more question. This is from Patrick, who said, you were talking about how much you learn by being on the set of a film. Do you have any tips on how to maybe get on the set of a professional film production just as a viewer, and is that even possible?
I haven't really been on many film sets. I've been on some professional sets, but I haven't been on many motion picture sets. It's just a matter of being around people that are doing the thing, that are pros, and watching how they do it. And I don't think you even need to be on sets anymore nowadays. You have, Alex Bono did something that's released, right? The Art of Visual Storytelling, I believe it's called. Anyone? Which I want to watch because it looks amazing. He's a fantastic cinematographer. He does all of SNL's shorts. Really, really great. Also did Green Street Hooligans, right? Solid cinematographer. And he's got a whole piece out there. You got Vincent Laforet, who just came out with one you were telling me about. Directing motion, what we're doing right now, where you're seeing us on set right now, going through the motions right now. So you're at a point that even if you're not able to get on a set, you're able to look into those, behind the scenes moments. I mean, even all Blu-rays and DVDs, movies come out with this fantastic behind the scenes stuff where you can see what it's like on the set, even online. If you look, Peter Jackson's great about that. So you can see exactly what it's like on set and really learn from that. But also, if you look into PAing, a lot of, pretty much everywhere you go, there's productions happening. Even if it's a commercial, start working for free just to be on and see how things roll. And that's a really great way to do it too. But if you can't get those PA positions, which are difficult to get at times, fall back into stuff like we're doing today.